Deaker.
When we have guests here, one of the most popular segments is the Plays of the Week, and I'll tell you why. These guys are often so busy that they haven't seen the top Plays of the Week, and they're sitting here waiting to be interviewed, and they'll lean forward and they'll be watching the Plays of the Week. Our Plays of the Week are brought to you in association with G.J. Gardner Homes.
Thinking about a quick tap. And he takes it. He higher west. Oh, he's getting away. And off goes Marty Banks. Marty Banks has been the top of the season. And he's just pulled in another one.
Absolutely wonderful. Alexis Sanchez on as a sub. Brilliant stuff from him to chip Diego Lopez and double Football Club Barcelona's advantage on 78 minutes.
And away will come the Kiwis with Hotman. The bells are ringing. Was absolutely pulled. A clanger there.
Catch gone. That is a brilliant catch. Ross Taylor plucked it out of nowhere. Got a thick outside edge, and my word, what a catch that is from Ross Taylor. Stunned silence in the crowd.
Callum Watkins, the 22-year-old centre from Leeds. Away there for Cronk. A high ball for Tompkins. Tompkins up. Off Inglis has got it. Inglis to Thurston. Inglis the thief. Tompkins thought he had it. But Greg Inglis, if you stripped off the kangaroo jumpy, you'd probably find a big S. He can be Superman-like.
So in it goes. Vito hands it off to Wilson. Just stabs a little kick in behind, but it's being fielded by Osborne. And oh, he's brilliant, Osborne. He's got away once more, and now the kick and chase is on, and he's still leading the charge, and that's brilliant. Osborne pretty much on his own, supported by Ellis, and Canterbury strike first.
Just superb play from Patrick Osborne.
11 from the line. Luke again on the 10-metre line. Last tackle. The kick from forward, right to the corner. Manu launches a jump. There's a fitness test on the ankle. A World Cup try to Manu Batuve, one of the stars of rugby league.
Some wonderful action there. I've been privileged in this job, and I said at a sponsor's lunch today, as I was telling them that this was my last show, I said, you know, I'd have done this whether I'd been paid or not. And I want to tell you why. I've met people that I would never have met on any other job. I want you to look at this lineup of international stars. Ali's name will always be associated with Frazier. To some extent, your name is always going to be associated with Johnson. What was it like to be on the blocks and be against a drug cheat?
Well, I mean, it's a part of our sport. It's a part of our culture. And I think that one thing that we have not done is associate drug use with the overall drug use in our culture. They've tried to separate it in winning and losing. It is not winning and losing. 80% or more of the athletes that take performance-enhancing drugs also use recreational drugs. So it's not a win-loss process, it's a drug use process. For me, it wasn't easy, but it was a motivating factor because I've always felt, because my coach told me from day one, if you train right, you do the right things, you can beat a drug user. So that was my motivation all along. And obviously Ben ran incredible, he did a great thing. But as you can see, doing it the wrong way, whether it's through drugs or cheating or anything, you're never going to be happy.
It's not often you get to meet someone who's done all the things you dream of doing. Ian Botham has scored 5,200 test runs. I dream of that. He's taken 383 test wickets. I dream of that. And he's run out deliberately Jeff Boycott in a test match, and Ian, everybody dreams of that.
Yeah.
How did Boycott take it?
He didn't really have a lot of choice. It happened. We won the game, so he couldn't do a lot. But you know, one of the things people say to me about Boyks is say, is he a selfish man? Was he a hard man to play with? Well, first of all, let's put one thing right. As England batsmen go, opening batsmen, I'd have him on my side every time, because when we were batting and when he was batting, Lemmy and I could stay out till 4 in the morning. He was a godsend.
I was older than he was, you know, and George was young and dull. You know, he could have been a fashion model, a handsome young man, and all the girls were chasing him, etc. You know, and I was happily married. I was going home. I wasn't a nightclub person, and so I think they always said that we were different, but we're never against each other, really. I mean, George could do what he wanted as long as he played. That's all that bothered me, you know. And when he played, he was sensational, but he was really frustrating to play with. Really frustrating. He loved playing. He wanted the ball all the time. He never really liked passing it very much, you know. If he got anywhere near the goals, he wanted to score. But I was always told when I was a young player to support your men. You're a team man. You've got to support him. I remember being so frustrated playing against George because I supported him, but he never gave me it. And he would go off in another direction, and I used to be real. It used to inflame me, and then I thought one day, Bobby, you're going to be in a nice, safe match where the score's all right and no problems. And if he tries to use you, then you can say, to hell with it, I'm not doing it. And it happened. We played against Nottingham Forest. I remember it clearly. And my back's to the goals at the Stretford end. I'm on the 18-yard area, and George picks the ball up and he starts weaving and dribbling. And I said to myself, well, we're 3 up with 2 minutes to go. You've allowed yourself this little luxury, you know. Don't buy it when George... And George was... And he probably was expecting me to come, but I didn't. I thought, no, I'll stop. Yeah, the game's won. And I stopped and I watched him, and he weaved and dribbled, and he weaved and dribbled on the one side, came back again, and I'm saying, stand still, don't go. Don't go. You've promised yourself this little luxury, Bobby. But then he came so close to me that I couldn't keep it in, you know. And I said... I remember saying out loud to him, George, what a greedy little... And as I said it, he smashed the ball into the top left-hand corner. and it just put it all into perspective, you know. How can you call somebody that's so fantastic and had so much skill? And then George, he was just a brilliant, brilliant player.
Yeah, magnificent.
But he had his troubles, George, you know, because he had an unbelievable high profile. These days, lots of people have high profile. The media, they concentrate on somebody in a similar situation. George was probably one of the first that had the so-called paparazzi that chased him everywhere because he was good news, George. It's good news for them, you know, but some things that didn't actually help himself. But what people remember in Manchester at that era was how fantastic it was.
To me, he's the bloke who was actually captaining the Pakistani side that cost us our chances of winning the World Cup in 1992. Imran, couldn't you have chucked that game?
Well, if Martin Crowe was building a cancer hospital, maybe I would have. The point is that, you know, apart from what it meant to the country, I mean, once we got back, the joy we saw on people's faces, you know, the common people, and 120 million people. New Zealand's only got 3 million. So, you know, the pleasure it gave to so many people, that was one aspect. And the other, of course, was our hospital, which we've been trying to build. And we needed that win, the World Cup, to really be able to be in a position to raise money for the hospital, which we did.
Amazing people. If I had an advantage in coming into sports broadcasting, it was I didn't come into it until I was 45. And I'd already had a career in both school teaching and drug education. So I came in and I sort of knew a lot more about New Zealand life and about New Zealand people, and I wanted to get the light and shade into it. So from international stars, I wanted to make sure that we never lost sight of good, average Kiwi blokes, and they don't come any better than that group that won the big trophy, East Coast. Have a listen. I thought you would have come in with the corporate gear on. What's all happened to the East Coast shirts?
The after-match party, man, everyone, all the cousins took all our gears. We couldn't even wait for Christmas.
The shots of you and him that I showed on this program a year ago won't be forgotten. Now, we've got them here. Tell us what's happening here, Jordan.
Yeah, so I sort of found myself in a precarious situation.
Where were you?
West Coast of New Zealand, the Cockatoo River, and this is pretty much as bad as it gets, to be honest. I you know, I was leading these boys down one of my favourite rivers. We had a helicopter in there filming, you know, a lot of pressure situation. And
why is it a pressure situation with the chopper?
Oh, just because of the cost of things, you know. You got $7,000 an hour buzzing above you, and we want to get things done quickly and as much footage as we can. And sort of ended up, you know, in this situation, and it was through the good work of my friends that they gave me the time to get out of my kayak, because that's what I'm trying to do there. And yeah, it took me a long time to get in my kayak, and I was dealing with water all over me and, you know, pushing me under. And yeah, I sort of reached back there and I'm just trying to clear my kayak and making the decision to go down under these rocks. And fortunately, after about 30, 35 seconds, I found my way out, and you know, sort of through the hand of God, made it there, and I sort of snapped to just here and sort of make it to the side. But yeah, my friends sort of made that happen, made me, you know, survive that serious situation.
How'd you lose your legs?
Well, Murray, I was run over by a train when I was 9 years old, and it was just one of those things. On a Saturday morning, I was out with my friend's parents, helping bag coal for a charity that they were involved with, and these wagons moved backwards, and I lost both my legs. Just fate, I suppose.
How much did you lose?
Well, this much.
You lost a lot. You lost a fair bit, isn't it? You're an enormous man up top, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. I've done quite a bit of weightlifting in my life.
Yes, yeah. But you must be able to just get around, and well, there you were, you're hopping up there, no problems.
Not a problem at all. No, I feel very comfortable like this, and people have asked me if I could have legs, would I? And I say no. I'm very, very happy the way I am.
I've interviewed a number of gay athletes over the years. Many of you will remember, if you're a league fan, just how tough Ian Roberts was. He was the Iron Man of Manly. And of course, Lewissa Wall, very much in the public eye now, and people may not recall that she was a double international. Here they are.
When I played sport, I didn't even think about it. I mean, I wasn't attracted to a specific woman, or I didn't play sport just to be near women or anything like that. It wasn't about that. I guess it was when I started mixing and being involved with you know, I suppose that the label is lesbian, but I guess I prefer to say, you know, women who love women. And this is really funny. Someone said to me once, "Why waste it on what a waste?" Said to me, "What a waste?" And I said, "Well, why waste it on a man?"
Well, I never actually literally came out and said I was gay. It was like we kind of skirted around the issue, because at that point it's not that we were trying to avoid the issue. We just thought people can read between the lines and make their own minds up. It was a premiere edition of Blue, which Blue also, the parent company that also published a magazine called Black and White, which was aimed at alternative cultures, where Blue was specifically it was a new concept for gay culture. The thing that really stirred the hornet's nest up was I did a nude shot, a few naked shots. It was, and that was built up to be nearly pornographic in the way that the mainstream media got onto it. Well, it was nothing like that. It was quite a stylish, well-done presentation.
I've been lucky here. There's never been any editorial interference. I've been given my head. In fact, I don't meet with management at this place more than once a year, and I've appreciated that. And it has allowed me to try a number of things. Also, there have only been two producers of this program. Greg Billings, who produces my radio show and has done so for the last 23 years. And for the last 6 years, my son John has been the producer of this program, Greg before him. Now, the lack of interference meant that we could try a number of things. We tried talkback. And the other thing that happened was we were able to discover some talent. I interviewed a young black fern here, and after the show, she said to me, "I'd really like to have a crack at television." You'll know who that is in just a moment. Here's what happened. We've got a caller, Nigel, online. Nigel, what's your question?
Yeah, Murray, just I think that it's vindicated Graham Henry's skill as a coach, the way that Auckland have played this year, and I hope that he becomes involved with the All Black frame. But most importantly, I'm stunned, and I'm sure Andrew will buy into this, that Xavier Rush has missed out.
Surprised a little and a little disappointed for the bloke.
Meanwhile, in our chat room tonight with Mel Robinson, a very special guest in the Holden chat room because the legend is there himself. Peter Brock, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you here. I'm not sure how much you know about rugby, but we're looking forward to the third segment as we talk about why Holden are just so good.
Yeah. So, in the end, it wasn't so much of a surprise.
Brocky, do you have people in motorsport in the States, in Australia, who know as much about it as she knows about rugby?
We have spin doctors. And
She's no spin doctor.
They don't care. They just think, what are we going to run with? Let's go with it. Let's give it some momentum.
So that's how Mel started. She used to be in the chat room and people were meant to be sending through questions to her about rugby. I've got to tell you, a lot of the questions weren't about rugby, and she handled it brilliantly. There were plenty of people wanting to take her out, and I'd go to Mel and say, Mel, what are they saying in the Holden chat room? And she'd say, well, Murray, the tight five need to do, and kept a straight face. Mel, congratulations on your career, and long may it continue. We also were aware that this program should be about issues, and it should be about panel discussion. And we got one panel and group that worked brilliantly. And you know who they are because I kept on having them back more and more times. They said things. Here they are.
I'd like to see him captain the Super 15 side with James O'Connor, Kurtley Beale, Nonu and Sonny Bill Williams all heading up the lineup. I think I could find one or two others in there to put in that side.
Well, would that be a classic All Black game that you would promote?
Could be a classic.
Well,
It's
you've
way
got
over.
plenty of people along.
I'll just tell you, it's way over quota too, by the way.
I've enjoyed having Putty and Andy on the program immensely. I've never been quite sure what's going to happen, and I have been on the edge of my seat. But thank you to you both. You've been like a breath of fresh air. We ran out of people to interview in New Zealand and we went to Australia. And the guy you're about to see interviewed, I went up to Kevin after we arrived at the bloke's house and said, look, pal, I've been with this chap for 7 minutes and he has sworn at me 57 times. I don't think we can put him on. And he said, well, you go and tell him. The guy was a world champion boxer. And I wasn't going to go and tell him anywhere. I said, set the cameras up here. What a performer Jeff Fennick is.
I believe as each day goes by in my life, I learn something and I'm a better person. Who believed I got my own boxing show on Sky Cow in Australia, and who believed that I'd ever be able to do that? I remember after my first interview, Bill Morty, my then promoter, said to my manager, how many fights has this kid had? He's punchy already, he can't speak. Obviously, I'd never spoken on the radio, I'd never been interviewed before, so it was very difficult. But these days, you can't switch me off. Look, to all the Kiwi guys, thank you for your support throughout my career. Thank you very much.
Our Tui hard case moments have been fantastic over the years, and we don't have to go back in history to find them. We've got two hard case moments from this week, and they happened within 5 minutes of each other in a rugby league game.
Could have possibly have seen this coming when New Zealand double score. Antonio Witherspoon comes up with the ball. I think it was the captain who lost it. The video referee to check it.
1-1. I'm happy with that.
They've made a mistake. They've made a mistake. They pressed the wrong button.
The video, let's give a try with the wrong graphics going up on the screen. It's a try for the right graphical.
Now it's tried. Johnson goes inside. Williams. Sonny Bill. Sonny Bill. Oh, he's bombed it. He's bombed it. He's slipped under that ball line. I don't think he has scored. I'm with you. I don't think he scored.
He's falling over first. He doesn't know. He knows he hasn't scored.
Sonny Blue
I've loved these programs because they're live. It gets the adrenaline pumping and it's interesting to watch what happens with athletes who are waiting to go on because they're a bit out of their comfort zone and many of them haven't done a lot of this. But sometimes you just have to sit back as you're waiting and watch how they get prepared. I think you'll enjoy this.
Yeah.
What do you make it, 3 minutes? 2.5, right. What do you look like?
Oh, come on. Oh, wait.
Little flex. Have you checked their mics and everything's right? Marnie, what did you have?
Easy KFC.
KFC. 45 seconds and we're into it. And you look for people who can get on well together, and obviously Sean and Manu get on extremely well. After the break, some special people.
Deaker on Sport is brought to you by TUI. 2 times you. GJ Gardner Homes.